The current public version of Tesla's full self-driving software is version 13.2.9. So saying that, what version do you think the Robotaxi down in Austin, Texas is currently running? Maybe 13.5, maybe all the way up to version 14, or maybe even version 14.1, because they had version 14 and had to do some bug fixes before they actually rolled out the publicly available Robotaxis. Well, kind of publicly available Robotaxis. Well, I can't give a concrete answer, but I'm going to point out that Mars blog over on X posted that the Robotaxi software full self-driving version was 13.3, and I'll just say that he is a smart and well-informed individual, and we'll leave it at that. And by what I felt in Tesla's Robotaxi when I was taking my 50 different rides, I would not be that surprised. Besides some of the new Robotaxi specific abilities, like pulling over for emergency vehicles, or pulling right up to the door of a hotel, the driving felt eerily similar to the vehicle that I use at home. On top of that, Elon Musk did say that the Tesla Model Y Robotaxis were unmodified Model Y coming out of Gigafactory Austin being used in the program. When asked what software version the Robotaxis had, all Elon Musk said was it's a new software version, but will merge into the main branch soon. This was back on June 10th. We have a more advanced model in alpha stage that has 4 times the parameters, but still requires a lot of polishing. That's probably ready for deployment in a few months. When asked if the Robotaxis have the 3 times larger model compared to 13.2.9, we will touch on that again in a second. Elon said that a 4.5 times approximately increase in parameters should be ready for wide release later this year. Super frugal use of memory bandwidth, caching exactly what is needed, and squeezing microseconds out of everything are needed to maintain the current frame rate, and the whole system needs to be retrained. Well, here we are a few months later, and we get a slightly nondescript post from Elon saying your Tesla self-driving capability will see a step change improvement as we integrate upgrades for the Austin Robotaxi build into the general production releases. Now, Elon did not give timing on this post, not that that would matter because his timing really means nothing, but a response to Sawyer Merritt, who asked, can we expect this in Q3? And he quoted the 4x parameters and other improvements that will eventually come to the main branch. Elon said it's looking good so far. So quarter 3 is right now. It ends September 30th. So we could expect in the next couple of months that we hopefully will see these improvements on our personal vehicles so we can get our own kind of Robotaxi-like thing going on. Of course, we'll still have to supervise for now. That's going to be a lot of regulatory stuff. But if that software down in Austin is so good, we want it on our vehicles. If it can drive around with just the safety passenger, we want it in our vehicles where we have a safety driver and we are in the driver's seat and can take over from there and have way less interventions, a smoother ride, and all of those benefits. We need to validate that improvements for Austin don't cause regressions elsewhere. For Europe and China, we are waiting for regulatory approval, hopefully soon. And yes, we've been hearing regulatory approval for Europe and now China for many years now. So I wouldn't hang on that too much because it seems like those guys don't want it to release or that's being used as some other type of excuse. Although Tesla has been posting many exciting videos of full self-driving performing all over the world. So it seems like the software is up to the task and maybe the regulatory excuse is the real one this time. Or maybe the regulatory excuse has been the real reason no FSD has been seen in Europe all of these years. Now going back to the 3x versus 4.5x comment that we talked about just a couple of minutes ago, we have had these release notes in our personal vehicles for almost a year now. With FSD, many different versions, we've had this upcoming improvement section. The upcoming improvements we've been waiting almost a year for are 3 times model size scaling, 3 times model context length scaling, audio inputs for better handling of emergency vehicles, improved reward predictions for navigation, improvements to false braking and slower driving in parking lots, support for destination options, including pulling over, parking in a spot, driveway, or garage, efficient representation of maps and navigation inputs, and improved handling of camera occlusions. And on top of that, Cybertruck has even more in these release notes. Cybertruck does not have smart summon, smart summon. It doesn't have dumb summon. It can't go into FSD from park. It can't reverse. Sorry, Cybertruck, it's not looking great right now for Cybertruck FSD. And what's interesting about looking back at these release notes that we've been waiting almost a year for is Robotaxi does seem to integrate a lot of this and have some of these capabilities. Now, some of the model scaling and context length, I'm not sure we would be able to tell that from the driving or how it's behaving, but we know the Robotaxi can handle emergency vehicles. We know that it has support for destination options, including pulling over. There's a pullover button. Parking spots, we didn't see too much, and it pulls up to doors and where it needs to go to be a Robotaxi. It does much better in parking lots in general, and other improvements that we've seen from the Robotaxis down in Austin. So at least as of right now, Elon is thinking that by September 30th, we could start to see this on customer vehicles. Now, we know how that normally goes with Tesla is they start to send it out in waves, and the first wave is usually early access people, and then it will slowly trickle out, but maybe they will get it out to tons of customers or all FSD customers by the end of Q3. That would be pretty awesome. And I do gotta say, although in the past and in general, timelines from Elon specifically, but also Tesla in general, are usually pretty bad, lately, the past few months, or maybe even 6 months to a year, Tesla and Elon's timelines have been a lot better. They have not been perfect, but they have been greatly improved. So while I don't want to hurt myself by getting excited about this and then later being let down when it doesn't happen on time, I do feel a little bit better about the timelines I'm hearing lately than I have in the past. So what can we even expect from this next update? I mean, in my experience, 13.2.9, the version we've been using for quite a long time now, is very good. No, it's not perfect. I don't think FSD is ever going to be perfect, but it can do many drives with zero disengagements, zero interventions, or maybe a few accelerator taps. I usually push it through the stop sign so it doesn't make a complete stop. But legal maneuvers, it's doing really well, and I'll just intervene here and there, mostly for comfort. There's a few annoyances I have, which I'm going to touch on, but they're more annoyances. They're not things that the car is specifically doing wrong. It's just kind of different than what I prefer. So I asked over on X, I said, hey, at what point are we getting to level 3 here? Because the car is doing really well. And level 3 is not level 4. You still have to pay attention sometimes, but Mercedes does have a vehicle on the road. I know it's very restricted, but in very specific circumstances, it is level 3, meaning the person in the driver's seat still has to be ready to take over, but when it meets these specific criteria, they can kick back, check out their phone, read a book, watch a movie on the center screen. It's actually fully available over in Germany when they're on the Autobahn. They can put a movie on that center screen and watch it while the car is in the level 3 self-driving mode. And Mercedes takes that liability from them. They say, hey, when you're in this mode, you meet all the criteria, just sit back and relax and we're taking care of you. Yes, I know people in the comments are going to point out you need really specific conditions. It's only in between certain speeds. It's got to be a sunny day. There can't be too much traffic or too little traffic. It can be too slow or too fast. But the fact is, that's out on the road out there, and it's not a Tesla. Now, a lot of people want to jump and say that the current system we have is so good, you could basically consider it a level 3. And I kind of agree. I get what you're saying. But the fact is, legally, and just safety-wise, you have to still pay attention. We're still looking forward. So we're technically still at a level 2, even though the vehicle is so capable and can do pretty much any driving maneuver needed, minus a few that we're going to talk about. So where are we going from here with this update? What really is going to improve? Now, I have a few things on here, and I asked over on X, and I got a bunch of things from other people, but also let me know down in the comments what you think the Tesla should be able to do, either from watching videos or from your personal Tesla, what you need, what does it still need to do, what's it still bad at? So here's some of mine. So this is what I want. Get out of the left lane. So I wrote it a little more colorfully than that, but on the highway, FSD loves to camp in the left lane. Now this has to do with your driver profile settings. So if you're in hurry mode, it's going to just shoot over to the left lane. And to be fair, if someone comes up on your butt, it will move over, but it's a little slow. It doesn't move over right away. And so a lot of times if someone's driving really aggressively or assertively, they'll just pass you on the right before the Tesla even has a chance to get over. So on the highway, I'm normally using the standard setting, and most of the time that will keep it out of the left lane. It will pass in the left lane, and then when it's clear, it will move back over, which is beautiful. But no mode, including hurry mode, should allow it to camp the left lane. I don't care if nobody's around, what's going on. You should not be camping the left lane. That is one of the biggest updates I need, because as I'm switching from off highway to on highway, I always have to remember, turn it off a hurry mode, because off highway, I need it on hurry mode to adjust some of the things I'm going to bring up in a second. And on highway, I cannot have hurry mode because it'll just camp the left lane and block traffic, and it's not appropriate. So that's something I'm really, I really have to be vigilant about as I'm going through different roads. So the next one, which is why I'm always on hurry mode unless I'm on the highway, is hold speed. So even my new 2026 Model Y or 2023 Model Y, Cybertruck, pretty much everything. Now the Model Ys are better than the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck was so much worse, but my vehicles like to slow down. So I drive a lot of fast rural roads. The speed limit is 50 or 55 miles per hour. Local traffic is going like 60 to 70. Now, I'm not saying FSD should automatically speed and follow them. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But I need it to go the speed limit. I need it to stop dropping its speed. The speed limit is 55. FSD, even in hurry mode, will often want to drop that speed down to 50 or even less than that, which frankly can be dangerous with the way people drive around here. Again, I want to be clear. I'm not saying FSD should speed. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it needs to hold the speed limit. And so something I would like to see from Tesla right now, we have a max speed setting, and the car, that's the fastest it can go, but FSD can choose to go any speed below that max. And a lot of times it's going way too slow for me. I know everybody's different in this regard, but for me, it's way too slow. So what I would love to see is keep the max speed. I get it. That makes a lot of sense. Give us a target speed. You could even do this in a Robotaxi. Some people don't want to go too fast. They want to, kind of keep it chill and hang out in the Robotaxi. So give us a target speed and a max speed. So I'll say max speed right now on this 55 mile per hour road is 65. You cannot go faster than that, but I would like you to go about 61. That's what I want. And so the FSD software can then target that target speed, go a little faster if it needs to, or slow down if it needs to, of course. Now, again, related to kind of the same scenario here, is I need harder acceleration through high speed scenarios. And as I'm talking through these, I'm kind of realizing most of the stuff that the next one does, but most of the stuff I'm talking about here does not relate to downtown scenarios, which is what Tesla is definitely going to focus on first, because robotaxis are going to go into dense downtown city areas where the speeds are slow. You want to go slow because of cyclists and pedestrians and things like that. And you don't care about going too fast for the most part. It'll of course happen eventually, but for now, that's kind of what they're focusing on. My car, when it passes a road, like it goes through an intersection, I have some where cross traffic is going, 50, 60 plus miles per 70 miles per hour. Sometimes you just go straight across. I know it's crazy, but people speed. That's what they do. And the Tesla will stop at the stop sign. Cross traffic doesn't stop. And the Tesla will just, okay, I guess it's clear, and just slowly move through that intersection. It'll maybe get up to 20 miles per hour by the time it's through the intersection. And it's like, whoa, we need to get out of here because people are flying at us. It is not a safe scenario. So when appropriate, we really need to step on that accelerator and get out of the way, get out of intersections. We don't want to sit in intersections. That's very important, in my opinion. At the same time, I get Tesla is prioritizing comfort and safety and stuff. So they don't want to be like mashing the accelerator, but sometimes that's what you got to do. So my last one, which applies everywhere, is read signs. There are so many scenarios where FSD is driving in a construction zone, or a lane is closed, or through a neighborhood or something, and there's a sign with special instructions on it, which is, why signs are there, to tell you something special happening. And if FSD could just read that sign, lane closed ahead, it would know, oh, I don't want to get into this lane over here and pass all these people because the lane's closed ahead. That's why everybody's in this lane, and they're not changing lanes over here because the lane's closed. So many scenarios like that where FSD would behave so much better if it could read signs. And as of now, it's just basically reading speed limit signs and stop signs and stuff like that. And outside of that, it's not really taking in any of this additional information that we as humans with our eyes and our brains, which is, what Tesla is always talking about, are using to get this additional information to help us drive safer, more informed, not get stuck, not, drive in a ditch or something, or there's a big pothole or whatever. So sign reading is something we really need. Now, here is what you wanted. There's a lot of things. So I'm going to fly through these a little bit, but these are kind of the top responses I got from X, things that people want out of their FSD with this update, but in general. Number one by far was lighten the eye tracking nag. I guess this is awful for people. And for me, for the most part, it's not too bad. I will give you a couple quick tips really quick. Wear sunglasses. That helps a lot. And when you're wearing sunglasses, it looks at your head position. When you don't have sunglasses on, it looks at your eyes. So even if you go like this, the thing will beep at you. Well, if you're wearing sunglasses, you can look down at your screen and not move your head too much, and then you'll be okay. But that was by far, everyone is like freaking out. They do not like the eye tracking nag. Disable nag on the highway in traffic jams. So people, again, are kind of getting into this level 3 mindset where there's going to be certain scenarios where you don't have to pay attention so much. And in my experience, the Tesla's there, but it's kind of like freaky at the same time, right? Because it's like, well, if I'm not paying attention and something happens, I could have stopped it, but I was told I don't have to pay attention. But this is where the data comes in. If Tesla has the data that the car is so good that you are actually a hindrance to the system, it's going to do better if you don't mess with it, then they can tell you, read your book or look at your phone, just kind of sit here in case an alarm goes off and we need you. Other things people want is improved destination handling, find parking, self-park, which we've heard about that for years from Tesla, and we still don't have it, which, of course, the Robotaxi is kind of doing. Pass on dotted yellow line into oncoming traffic. That's another big request that I saw from a lot of people. Personally, I don't think the risk is worth the reward in that scenario. You probably don't save any time doing that most of the time. Every time I get passed by someone doing that, or when I myself pass like that, you just end up catching up with the person at the next stop sign or stoplight anyway, like 90% of the time. But it was a big request from people. Increase following distance, more consistent destination parking, avoid illegal maneuvers. So like no right on red is a huge request right now. No left turns with a sign, like there are signs that say you can't turn left there. Respect the do not enter sign. So this goes into me like wanting, the signs to be red because all of that would be fixed. And then pothole detection was another highly requested feature because, I've seen my car do it, but it's super rare and you can literally damage your car when you're, dealing with a pothole. So this is huge and really should be implemented. This is something Elon mentioned like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, saying that this was coming to Tesla vehicles. And it's like, yeah, let's go. And it's maybe kind of here, but barely. Now, here's a few things that I collected from kind of, the sentiment out there, but also personal experience I injected into this one. What FSD still does wrong, like things we need it to do better and fix. So misreading speed limit signs or doesn't change its speed even when it does read them. I see this all the time. And it feels like more of a recent thing, or I'm not sure what's going on, but like it'll read this. So I'll be in a 45 going, 50. It'll read the 35 speed limit sign, put it on the screen, and then change nothing. So it doesn't lower its max speed. It doesn't slow down. It does nothing. And it just ignores it, even though it read the sign. I see this all the time. It's super annoying. People talking about phantom braking and swerving for shadows. I don't see that like pretty much ever, but I guess that's something a lot of people are seeing. Lane changes for no reason. There's a lot of that. That happens a lot where FSD will change and then just change right back. It's seemingly no reason. Maybe the computer thought of something, but also changing lanes away from your route. That's a lot more rare now, but sometimes it won't change lanes like soon enough, or it'll move away from like the next maneuver. Running red lights is actually something I've seen a couple of times. And it's the thing that's weird about this is it's super stupid and illegal. Like I'm not making excuses for it, but the times it does it are usually like at least kind of appropriate. So hear me out. It's number one, the car, if you're the first vehicle at a red light, FSD seems to like be psychic and somehow guess when the light's going to turn green. Maybe it's looking at the traffic patterns on the sides, or it can see something else that I'm not noticing, but it will like guess that the light's going to turn green. And when this happens correctly, FSD will start to roll the tires and then the light turns green and you keep going. You're like, wow, that was really good. When this happens incorrectly, which I've also seen, FSD will just drive through a red light after it's been stopped for a while. So that is not good. But what I've noticed and why I'm saying it's, kind of like appropriate for the wrongness, whatever, however you want to take that, is that it's always clear when it tries to do it. It's not going 50 miles an hour through a red light. It's stopped at a red light, at least in the cases I've seen it, and then it just goes through it when it's clear. Driving on the wrong side of the road, super rare, but I've seen it a couple of times. I saw it in my Cybertruck, where the Cybertruck actually avoided, it was just a pile of snow in the road, but it kind of made sense and it was kind of cool. It moved over to the other side to go around it, and then it just stayed on the wrong side of the road. And I was like, hello. And I wasn't recording at the time, but it just drove on the wrong side of the road and never moved back until I took over and moved it back to the correct side. So that's definitely not good. FSD right now for us doesn't react to emergency vehicles, but we do see that in the Robotaxi. FSD also can ignore road closed signs and do not enter signs and try to just drive around them. Now, if the road is totally closed, it will reroute and find another way. But if there's like a gap in the closed part of the road, it'll just drive right in there. Cybertruck is constantly hugging the left lane. I remember that, and people are saying that is still happening. Navigation issues are huge right now. That's like one of the biggest fail points of FSD is it just has the wrong navigation data. So Tesla really needs to update those maps. And then railroad crossings, I guess I haven't experienced this enough or something, but people are saying that they're not stopping for the flashing lights. They're not stopping for the arm guards, or it's like getting way too close to them or something. So I don't have experience with that, but I saw a lot of people talking about that. And then the other thing that FSD currently doesn't handle, and we don't know if Robotaxi does because it's summer, but school zones is a huge one. That's like, should be obvious, like school buses with the stop sign out, changing speed limit for school zone because it's different speeds at different times of the day. Over in Europe though, the autopilot software, and just when you're driving manually, the speed limits are context aware and they're aware of like the different times of day when speeds are changing. So Tesla can do it. They just, I don't know, they're not doing it right now in school zones for us. So maybe Robotaxi does have that ability, but we wouldn't know it until, school is back in session. So let me know your complaints, your wishes, what you want for FSD down below, and you will see me in the next video.